Raphael D. Dangerfield.
Alright there. Oh, YouTube have removed my live streaming privileges. Fucking bastards, man. For a video I made 2 years ago. What was it? Gratuitous nudity. I mean, I know it's passé to moan about YouTube and you've kind of got to accept them for what they are, but just take down the video. Obviously, I didn't try and sneak anything past you. I wonder if someone grasped. There's no mention of any free agent. I wonder if YouTube employ people just to look at it. It was a cam girls thing. I was flicking through, but it was artistic. It was comedic in content. I was approaching it as if I was in I can't remember, like a hardware store or something. 3 months, no live streaming. I love live streaming. And it's nice to interact with people, and it's a fucking financial hit as well. Not a lot. Super Chat's probably about £150 a month. But when you're budgeting daily, trying to save a bit of money here and there, and then 150 quid off your monthly budget, YouTuber cunts. Roll on 3 months then, unless another one turns up. You know what? I might have to go through my 300 videos and dump anything that. Oh, it means watching it all. 300 hours. It's fucking. You know they say you see your life flash past. You see your life flash past when you die. My mate had a road accident. I said to him, when I went to see him, how are you and all that, and he said, my life flashed past me, and I was like, no shit, and he went, I thought it was boring the first time. Anyway, I always get asked what my outro music is. It's a tune called Thai Food by an artist called Safakash, Safakash. And the vocal sample is from an old Cambodian song. Oh, my new missus, my new Cambodian girlfriend, she wants to marry me. She's up for it. Oh, should you buy a hat? Right, let's talk about drug rehabilitation. Can't remember how many I've been to. I've done a list and I've got to 13. But then more just keep coming. That went up to 17 the next day. Between 15 and 20 drug rehabs and or detox centres I've been to. So I've got special kind of insight. And they are horrific places. I mean, the reason you're there is horrific anyway. I mean, I'm not talking about like the cokeheads and the hashish addicts. Listen to this. When I first went to a rehab and found out that some people go to those places because they smoke too much weed, I remember looking at them across the sort of group room and thinking, I wish the only problem I had was I smoked too much weed. I wouldn't fucking be in here, that's for sure. However, you'll be surprised how something as seemingly innocuous and, it's just a bit of weed. Put addiction into the equation and that stuff, I saw it ruin people. I mean, it's a bit weird that you have to read out things in rehab. You have to tell them your life story, for instance. And one of the first things you have to do is tell the group things like, name 3 negative consequences from your drug use. And this is all over rehabs. Rehabs the world over tend to go by the same formula. There's a few anomalies, but your standard sort of 12-step influenced European rehab centre, early on you have to go through something like 3 negative consequences, 3 times you've done things you thought you never would, 3 times you hurt other people, all that sort of stuff. And when the people that smoke too much weed, I mean, they're rare in rehab, don't get me wrong, but you do come across them. When they're in there, they're sort of, again, once I couldn't afford to buy any hash, so I borrowed £20 off my friend, but I had no intention of giving it back to him. And then when you get into conversation, he goes, no, I'll give it back to him about a month later. The consequences are minimal. Then you've got someone who's just come out of Belmarsh going, Well, I stuck a chisel through his eye, but it didn't blind him, but I still went to prison, which I thought was a bit bad. Sure. I was a prostitute at 13 because my mum made me a smackhead when I was 9. You know, there's a difference. But it's annoying when you see the hash habits and the cocaine habits, the speed, the meth, because none of them have a withdrawal. It's a piece of piss to stop taking cocaine. I've done it. I had £1,000 a day crack habit. I was a crack dealer. And you can do a 20 quid stone this quickly. You give your pipe to your missus or your mate, if you haven't managed to get shot of them. And while they're smoking it, you want the next one. That's another 20 quid. So after it nearly destroyed my life, watch the Crack Diaries. 3-parter in my back catalogue. After it nearly destroyed my life, I thought, well, I've got to quit this. And I just stopped taking it. I slept for a couple of days. That's it. That's what happens when you give up speed, cocaine, crack, all that lot. But your junkies, your alcoholics, and your benzodiazepine, you know, diazepam, tamazepam, all that lot, they're struggling. They are struggling. I think your boozers are about the easiest. I mean, they'll hallucinate, they'll fall over, they'll puke. It's not nice. But a bit of lithium, some vitamins, a bit of food and warmth, a week, jobs are good 'un. Your smackhead, especially around, you know, as they're getting older, that's a 6-7 weeks of agony. And you hear all this stuff about, oh yeah, but don't they give you methadone and then tape you down? Don't they give you Subutex and then tape you down? Yeah. But at the end, whatever opiate you were on, heroin, Oxycontin, methadone, opium, morphine, codeine, whatever it was, at some point you're going from something to nothing. That's always going to happen, even if it's a little bit of Subutex or a little bit of methadone. And oh my fuck, does your body react badly. It's unbelievable mental and physical duress. I wouldn't wish that on anyone, even people who I pretend I haven't got a deep-seated hatred for, enemies or evil people. No. I just don't think the human brain and body was ever designed to cope with that, and that's what's disgusting about it. Because you hang on, you survive it, and I don't think you should. You know, I think you've been to heaven, you've supped the manna. I think you should die. Anyway, that's aggro, but the benzodiazepines, the people who take Xanax and that sort of stuff, and these people are Xanax addicts taking 20 bars, 2 milligrams a day. So you know when you have one, Sunday morning Glastonbury, Xanax funny, 20 of them a day. I've seen handfuls of them. That detox goes on for 6, 7, 8 months. Months of them shivering and sneezing and falling over and shitting themselves and not sleeping. I mean, the smack detox, you ain't sleeping for certainly a couple of weeks, but then you'll start getting a couple of hours here and then 3 hours and a few nights. But those benzo people, they're getting an hour every few days. Fuck that. My point being, although they're horrible places, by the nature of what you're doing there, feeling like shit, they don't really stand a chance. They could be fucking Disneyland and it's going to be hell. Well, Disneyland would be the last place you want to go withdrawing, but you know what I mean? They could have made an effort and it's going to be hell. There's no chance of it being particularly great. However, most of them make that worse. There's this weird, there's a sense of punishment. There's a sort of a, because there's no overt and apparent morality. I mean, junkies have gone from, in 50 years, junkies have gone from being criminals to being sick. That's the progress of the drug addict. You know, we used to just be criminals. Now we've got a disease. And the truth is, neither of those. There's no such thing as addiction. We take drugs, it's a choice. Now, in as much as there's a superficial physical addiction that is going to cause you problems when you remove it from your metabolism, like I just explained, the physical detox, and that the detox, yes, addiction exists. But you can go through that detox and you're off the drug. So addiction doesn't exist. And I certainly don't believe in the disease, they like to say the dis-ease of addiction. that it's a particular person or character type. You've got my addict makes this decision, my addict does. It's all bullshit. It's just you making a choice. Now it's a bad choice, and it's proving it's getting worse and worse, and your life's falling apart. But at some point, it's you that chooses not to. It's you that walks in the door of that rehab centre. Addiction wouldn't do that. Doesn't exist. Now, I'm not saying it's not hard to stop. It's a fucking nightmare. And anyone who's dabbled in substances will know that's your life story now. Even on them, your life's going to be about them. And off them, your life's going to be about them. Anyway, rehab centres. What you have got, which is kind of nice. Now I've got all that out there. And there's more to come that you'll see there why they're so hideous. However, they have that school-like element. They have that bit where you're not meant to laugh. And you're building friendships, and you build some strong friendships. When you're sharing a room with a bloke who was brought in on a stretcher, he's heard your life story, he's heard you at your fucking ultimate worst, and he's seen you do your best as you've changed, as you've helped other people. And neither of you are sleeping for the first 4 weeks you're there, so you're spending 24/7 with this bloke. In a room, in a little cell-like room with fucking polyester sheets and stink of piss. And the bit of the carpet by the window is like an ice rink because you can see the girls' school. I mean, yeah, steady. But you're making these friendships and you're in rooms and you're nervous and you're withdrawing and you're scared. So, those things lend themselves to laughter. Couple with that people's dark, dark stories. Things you don't want to handle. I mean, Jesus Christ, a leaf falling from a tree makes you jump. I don't want to hear about people killing themselves. I don't want to hear about your stepdad buggering you. This is hideous. I used to sweat. My shirt or my t-shirt would be rinsed through, like soaked through, by the end of a group therapy session. And you're in and out of that group room in most rehabs 4 or 5 times a day. Hour session, group session, individual session, goals group, morning meditation, exposing yourself to people. Most of them aren't going to stay there. These are going to be people back out on the street with your deepest, darkest secrets. And you know what cunts are leaving. I mean, there's a few surprises, but you think, I don't want to say this in front of him. And I've said that. I've said it in a rehab centre. I said I don't want to discuss this in front of Paul, because he ain't going to be here in 3 days. Oh, there was a hoo-ha. But they let you say that sort of shit. Anyway, so you're not meant to be laughing. And there's this particular story about this girl. Horrific life. She was a weightlifter, so was her boyfriend. And they got into Newbane, which is, I've never even heard of it, some synthetic opiate that weightlifters, it's for during pregnancy and things like that. And they got into that so they could train hard. And they trained so hard that they become addicted to Newbane. And she said that he used to jack her up with it and then let his mates come around and fuck her. And I'm just everyone's just, oh no, please, I ain't slept in 2 weeks. All this sort of stuff. And then she went, in the end, he killed himself. He went and laid down on a train track. She went, we buried his head and feet. Right? And I've just had her life story. This poor girl has had nightmare after abuse, after neglect from the state, from the schools, from the social workers, back to the parents, neglect into fucking homes, foster homes, abuse. Just a rolling ball of misery. And when she said that, I was just thinking, please, this is. I've looked 2 people to the right. I saw my mate Dave. And he looked at me and I see him clock the facilitator and the co-facilitator, the staff. I've seen him clock them quickly and I thought, no. But of course he's jumped in too quick and he's gone like that. And I just thought of this little head with the feet there. And I've just laughed. Now, the girl who's when you do your life story, it's a page a year. She's about 34 pages she'd read out of her life. People are crying, all sorts is going on. And I've just gone, mooey. And they just bring it up and it's fucking hell. Have you got no respect? And they let other people chip in. Again, people are leaving tomorrow. What kind of a cunt are you? And And I'm just going steady on. I just look. And I remember the woman, the facilitator, said to me, she said, "You're only laughing because you're nervous." And I said to her, "Well, you're having a go at me for being nervous." And I like to see him afterwards. Go and see the headmaster. But the things that can happen, I was saying about sharing a room in another rehab. This one was in Bury St Edmunds. I was sharing a room with this old bloke, Andrew, hilarious, alcoholic, 2 bottles of scotch a day. I never knew about hard drinking. When I was an art student, a few pints, Thursday through to Sunday, bottle of scotch with your mates occasionally. But man, a proper alcoholic, 2 bottles of scotch a day. Fat old round man he was, and he went to me, he went, sharing a room with him, 10 weeks, he's dead now, drunk himself to death. Had a couple of years clean, got back on the fucking sauce. Shared a room with him, got to know him, lovely bloke. And he said to me, he went, I used to wake up in the morning and I'd get out 1 bottle of scotch. I go, this is him about 5 weeks off it. He went, I'd get 1 bottle of scotch, lovely. Then he went, I'd fill a pint glass with scotch, and then he'd say, I'd drink the inch off the top, I'd puke that up. This is every morning for like 30 years. Puke that up, then he could knock the rest of it back in 3 or 4 mouthfuls. Then he's got the rest of the bottle he said that'd get him around. This is about 7 a.m. He wakes up to that. Then he said the rest of that bottle get him through to 11. At 11 he'd fall asleep till about 3, wake up, and then he'd do exactly the same with the second bottle. And then in the evening he went, and then sometimes in the evening I'd maybe have a few drinks. God bless Andrew. I remember once he got up out of his bed and he was like 2 days in. He got up and I could see the sort of waves of him. And I was going, Andrew, and he just shot across the room. Smashed. Had to take him to hospital. X-rayed. Turned up at NA meeting covered in bandages. Poor Andrew. The vile places though, man. When I think of the ones I left, trying to get out of them is a nightmare. Trying to get out of them when they're trying to charge you. And the weird thing is, when you're ready to leave a rehab centre, once you've sat on your bed for the last time and just gone, no, this is bullshit, it's because you want to use drugs more than go through that. They're your only 2 options. You're rattling your tits off. Do you want to do more rehab, or are you going to be using within getting out of this place? But sometimes I went to one called Castle Craig. In a fucking field in Scotland is this beautiful old house. Well, it's a beautiful old house on the brochure. Get inside and smell the disrepair, the mildew. Oh man, what a place to be detoxing in. The old place smelt of decay. No baths either. Mate, if you're smacky, you need to be in that bath twice a day just to feel warm for 20 minutes. What a shithole. That place, Castle Craig. What they also didn't tell me in the brochure was it's a Dutch business, and in Holland you're insured against addiction. Your company insures you. So anyone with any drug problems there, they just go to their boss, they send them to Castle Craig in Scotland for a few months, go back all sweet. Problem is, the place is 100% Dutch. All the clients, all the staff, and then I turn up. And I'm telling you, when you don't want the attention. And in the main meeting, the first day there's a main meeting, they said, you have to speak English here, it's the rules. So now all those Dutch people are speaking English. And I know it's because I'm there. No one said that the day before. When there was no English people there, they didn't have that. It's because of me. And on that first day, I'd open a door, go into a room where everyone's talking, I'd sit down, they'd all sort of slowly stop talking. Silence. And then, like, almost reluctantly, someone would go, "So, Craig." I'll be like, "No, it's Chris." "So, Craig, how long are you staying here?" When I tried to get out of there, they tried to charge me for 3 weeks. And I was just going, it's not happening. I've been here 2 days. All this going on, blah, blah, blah. And they were going, "Where are you going?" I goes, "Well, I'm going to go and use." And I'm not from Scotland. And so suddenly they said, we'll take you 3 miles into town. It's 30 miles away. But their duty of care says that I've only got to take you free. So they literally get me in a car and stop in the middle of the road. There you go. Just thanks a lot. Thanks for getting me this far. And then I got to get a bus. Then I end up in Edinburgh. Now I'm just in Edinburgh with like nothing. Anyway, I'm getting away from the rehabs. There's a terrible God problem with the rehab situation. I mean, a couple of the ones I've been to have said, look, we've taken the stuff we want from NA, but we leave all the God stuff behind. And that's quite handy, because if you have got a God thing on the go, you can implement it. And if you haven't, you can implement it. As an atheist, in most of the rehab centres I've been to, I felt like an outsider. And I've been treated as someone who, you're not prepared to change. You don't want to get clean every fucking day. And that's hard work when you're there. And by change, they mean let the Lord into your life. I was at one rehab in Bognor Regis, and I was so fucking cold. Again, I'm detoxing, I get it, but, you know, my blanket was like a Rizzler. I was just like, So I've gone downstairs, and they went, you're not meant to be downstairs now. I mean, fuck off. I said, listen, I'm freezing up there. I'm literally, my teeth are chattering. Can you bring me up a blanket? He went, I'll send someone up. Gone back upstairs, and, you know, this is day one, and I'm meant to be at this place for 6 months, and I'm already hating it. Anyway, they didn't send up a blanket. They sent 3 people up. They knelt down by the bed and prayed for me. Now, I know you can't imagine detoxing, but imagine your worst hangover ever, where it's just, where you're still a bit pissed and you've no strength and you're puking. Imagine that, and there's 3 people there. Dear the Lord, please help the Christopher and the heroin that he does consume that makes him a bad man. Just shocking. And I was just thinking, right, it's just a question of time now of getting out of here. And because they sit you there going through paper, they don't want to lose you. They don't want to lose the money. So they'll treat you like a cunt, but the minute you're going to hit them in the pocket, suddenly they'll keep you there. And it goes on, paperwork, we've got to get this person. So you're better off just out. I literally shimmied down a drain pipe to get out of that place. I threw my bag out and then just jumped about 18 foot at the bottom. They chased me down the road. About 10 of them come out. Chris! I was like, gee, I'm being chased by the God Squad through fucking... Can't remember what it's called, I already said it. Bognor Regis. End up standing on the beach like a movie. To my left, a sinking moon. But in that place, within 30 minutes of turning up, they gave me a load of paperwork to fill in. Standard procedure. Here we go. It's my little room, smelling of mould and disease and bad manners. So I'm writing down name, what drugs do you use, how often, how long, have you been to rehab before, blah. That's standard. Turn the page. Top of the page. Who do you turn to for spiritual strength? And my head's just in my hands. I'm just like, here we go. Here we go again. And I put in it Nietzsche. I'd like to pretend I was being sort of flippant, but I think I was just an arrogant little boy, and I just thought, no, I it's got to be Nietzsche. I mean, Ecce Homo. Thus spoke Zarathustra. I learned guidance and morality and ethics. And then the next one, you know, who do you turn to? Basically, they're trying to get me to write God or no one so that they can work their magic on me. That was so I'm already thinking, right, this isn't looking good. But, you know, once you've walked out of 20, well, again, I don't know how many rehabs because of this shit, this time you think, I'm just going to fucking put up with it. And there's things everywhere. Let go, let God. Pictures all around the place reminding you that this is a heavily Christianity-influenced scene. And it really is. Now, don't get me wrong. People have gone there and just sort of put up with it and done well. But it's such a hindrance. Such an unnecessary weight on an already heavy situation. Oh, yeah, that evening. So that one, Ravenscroft, it was called. there was a rumour, because I went to a detox centre to do a 3-week detox before going to Ravenscroft, because some of these places don't want you in them when you're puking and sort of crying and smashing windows and all that. So they give you 3 whole weeks to turn up and, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. And there was a rumour that you have to go on an 8-mile hike. And I was just cracking up. I think I've heard all this shit before. First night, right, buddies, get your buddies. Buddies, there's a buddy system in rehabs. New person gets assigned to someone. Never can it be the bloke you've already bonded with who's a bit like you. No, they use this shit as part of your therapy. They won't put you with someone you get on with. Now, put Chris with that really posh horse riding girl, or put they try and put you with people who aren't like you, or just they want to cause problems, because from problems come solutions, and it's so jarring. So my buddy, this fucking 80,000-year-old bloke, come out, hello Chrissy, we're going to go on the hike now, it's quite to laugh, we get in the back of hang on, I'll be back. Basically, fucking minibus, about 10 miles, out for the Scottish lowlands. November, pretty chilly. You can ramp that up 6 times to account for the twitching milky skin I've got. 8 miles. 2 miles in, I was on my hands and knees. Hands and knees. He let me do that for a mile. A mile he let me do that. Yeah, that. Always people end up using in rehab as well. Someone's going to sneak drugs in there. It's just, I've never done it. I've sneaked some Valium in to help me get through my smack detox. But you'll get people sneaking drugs, their drug of choice in. But they'll go through group, they'll do it all, and they're usually the top students. Everything seems perfect, and the staff are always on them. And then one day they'll come into the kitchen. For the last 5 weeks, they've either been completely shy and withdrawn, detoxing, and then suddenly, what you want? Should we watch the telly or show? And then you're in the position of grassing on them. Now, I'll be honest with you, the majority of people who are using rehab are there on drug treatment transfer orders, DTTOs. They might be called DTOs now, drug treatment orders. And it's basically, they've gone to court in and out so many times, the judge has said, listen, now you go to rehab or prison. Stupid bastards take rehab. And they hate it, because in prison you don't get your head shrunk every day. However, a decent rehab, Focus 12 in Bury St Edmunds, did get me clean, totally clean, NA clean for a good few years. You know, when I'd done what they told me to do, which I did, I stayed clean. Chose to use in the end. Will I ever go to another detox centre? No. Most of you know my last few detoxes I've done in Thailand, in brothels or guest houses or a bit of both. I know it. I know the drill. I don't kid myself. Anyway, that was me talking about rehab centres. Yep.
Thanks for watching.
Now we're going to ask the Ravens to help us do the next two.